Yep, even witnesses could see through the BS.
Pascal, you are now rocking with that dude Pascal.
What's up? We have a witness speaking out and saying that they could see through Jake Haro's BS, through his fake tears, as he was out there begging for them and others to help find their baby boy, Emmanuel Haro. And now I got to let you know, we already know that Jake and Rebecca are locked up right now. Their arraignment is tomorrow. We will be watching or keeping watch on that. Hopefully it'll be at a reasonable time, because last time it was all over the place, the time. So when I find out information, I'll let you guys know. But nonetheless, we're keeping an eye on this. And right now, baby boy has still not been found. They have not found Emmanuel. He is still out there. They do not know where he is. Yes, I know police are saying, yeah, we have a general idea of where he could be, but they still have not found this baby boy. Now, I do want to point this out, though, too, just to be completely real. It's vast. The areas that they're combing through are vast. And there's a possibility this kid could be anywhere in this desert, literally just this desert land. The other thing, too, is we talked about this in another video, that neighbors are suspecting that maybe wildlife could have played a hand in the disappearance of the body, right? And that's still a possibility, too. I mean, you got to leave that on the table, too. But you'd think that maybe there'd be something, a piece of clothing, something of some sort left behind. But again, we'll see what police uncover as time goes on, and hopefully they find him very, very soon. And God only knows what Jake and Rebecca are doing, if they're actually working with them, if they're cooperating. We don't know. To me, I feel like they're just running them. They're just doing the lies because they're liars, guys. Okay, that's basically what it is. Pathological liars. But I digress. We now see that other people, speaking of liars, other people are now sitting here saying, yeah, we were able to see through the BS. When they came in on that day, a day after the boy was reported missing, they came up to us asking, please help us. Please help find Emmanuel. When in actuality, these people, especially this particular witness, was looking at him going, nah, he was full of ish. He was fully lying. This is the trash, the fake tears, and what was the words that were coming out of the hole in his face was just nothing but absolute lies. So let's take a look at this article, okay? So apparently this assistant manager to this store called Baada, I think it's Baada clothing store, tells the story about how Jake Haro walked over to the place the day after and was basically like, going, help me find my son, just fake crying, which was all BS, right? So again, something very interesting. We're going to look at the video here too, but she had quite a bit to say, right? So this article was able to speak exclusively to this woman named Liz. She's an assistant manager at the Baada clothing store situated next door to Big Five. Now, she recalled the day that Jake came to the store asking for help as locals scrambled to try and help the couple find Emmanuel. She said from the beginning, those living in the quiet community didn't believe someone could have been taken, right? Or could have taken their son. So she recalled, we closed at 7 p.m. So after it happened, we didn't know anything. But the next day, the dad came here, the very next day. Fake tears, she says. Like, if you guys know anything about my son, right? He was there by the front door. I was like, the detectives seem to be doing all they can. He wasn't crying. It was more heavy breathing. It didn't seem real. And we saw this. We saw this in one of his very first interviews, right? He didn't get the memo at first, but then later on you see him like, tears in his eyes and all that stuff. But in the very beginning, he's like, we're going to find my son, and anybody has him, help us find him. She was just changing his diaper. Remember that BS? Diaper, right? But moving on, he was wearing a hoodie too, which was weird because it was like 90 degrees. He seemed in distress, and he was rubbing his eyes. They were red, but there were no actual tears. She claims she told her colleagues she felt the story was suspicious when they came into the store later in the day. And he wasn't out searching. He was just walking around the parking lot. It just felt off, especially as they're not from here. Locals here just thought, that's not Ukaipa or Ukaipa. You might see a helicopter going around looking for a missing person, but not a baby. And then we heard the parents were from Cabazon. It's sad. My sisters are parents, and I just can't imagine someone doing that to a baby. And again, you know, of course, this is something that I think a lot of people can't believe, right? We're all still trying to understand properly how someone could do something like this, right? Any person. Shoot, I just did a short video about Laken Snelling, a woman who gave birth to a baby, and then of course that baby was found gone in a bag in her closet, right? That woman, by the way, just a little bit of a left turn, got bail. $100,000 bail, no anklet. She gets to go back home and stay with her family. And she pled not guilty to the crimes that she clearly did. She gave birth to a baby, and then she let the baby perish. That's what they're claiming, and that's what they're saying, right? Same thing in regards to Jake and the past that he's had with Promise, right? He spent a little bit of time in jail, and then he was spat back out to go and do something like this all over again. These particular people should not be trusted, period, point blank. Okay, the Jake Haros, the Rebecca Haros, the Vanessa, his ex-wife. Okay, the biological mother to Promise. Okay, the Laken Snellings. They should not be allowed to be back out here breathing in this freedom air, and then also get the chance to procreate again and make more life when all they're going to do is snuff it out again. It's ridiculous, in my personal opinion, but I digress. Okay, I digress. Let's get into this video. It's just insane, guys. Real talk.
It's very united, you know? So if it was something kind of big like that, of course people are going to go searching, stuff like that. But I don't know, it's just very shocking. Yeah.
And were you at work when it first happened? How did you first hear about it?
We close at 7. So for them to say it happened at like 7:47, the whole parking lot is empty basically by that time. And I didn't find out until the next morning when I came into work, and yeah, they were just questioning us too.
And what was the scene outside when you came to work that day?
It was all just undercover vehicles, to be honest, and I thought, oh, it's just busy at Big 5, you know, but I had no idea what the situation was, to be honest.
And you had a run-in with Jake yourself. Talk to us about what happened, where he was in the store, how he was acting.
Yeah, he just came in and asked if we had any information, and please just let him know, but there was no tears, just exaggerated kind of facial expressions.
I mean, he, like we've seen in the other videos before, okay, and all the other interviews that he's done before they were arrested and before they went into hiding, what was he doing? He literally was trying to force the crying. He was trying to fake cry. This is not somebody who has a soul. This is not somebody who is emotionally connected to his child. Let's be real. I feel the same way about Rebecca as well. Doesn't matter if you think she's a victim and then she was kind of plopped into this situation and all that. It doesn't matter, okay? She was running with this man and was allowing and enabling this man to do what he did. And I'm sure she raised her hand on that kid too. I wouldn't be surprised. And then on top of it, to add insult to injury, she ran off with this guy trying to run and play and bamboozle the general public and tug at the heartstrings of all of the public, only to be lying the entire time. She did that in cahoots with her husband, okay? They're both monsters, real talk.
So what was he doing? What kind of things was he saying?
Just, I don't know, heavy breathing and then just like rubbing his eyes, but there was
We've
no
seen it
really
before.
tears, so it's just hard to, you know, feel bad for him. I don't know.
You know, we've seen it. Like I said, one of the first ever interviews that they had with the media, he's sitting there trying to. You could tell, like he's trying to rev up tears, but they're not coming out because he has no soul, okay? He has no soul. He has no emotions, right? But then we see later both of them just an absolute mess, right? They're balling, they're pulling out their best Oscar-winning performance ever, right? Because they knew that the first interview that they had was trash and was not believable. So they went home and they said, yeah, we're going to need to kick that up a notch. We need to do more because right now we're not selling it well enough. And that's exactly what they freaking did. Okay? Manipulation. That's what they did. Manipulation.
And what was your initial reaction to that? Did you feel something was off, or did you feel he was not acting how somebody would if their baby had been kidnapped?
Yeah, if their baby had been kidnapped, they would have been out looking for them. Same with like my sister
No doubt.
with their kids. You know, it's just not something to just hang around in a parking lot and then just be mingling with your family. I don't know.
How would you describe his facial expressions there?
Exaggerated, just very putting on a front. You know, I don't know how to explain it.
And did you see his wife at all? Did you see the mum?
No, I think she was just outside, to be honest. I think she was just out here with the family.
Yeah. She didn't really do anything either.
You thought it was odd to be just hanging around in the parking lot
Exactly.
and speaking to just a couple of store owners instead of driving around.
Yeah, I mean, they were handing out flyers at first, but I don't know, even then it was just missing kid and not missing baby.
That's weird too. Missing kid, not missing baby. It just seems very disconnected. They also, speaking of disconnected, they also had phone numbers on the actual flyer that later on became disconnected. Rather than actually going up and changing out the flyers and maybe use a hotline, you see what I'm saying, with the police or even a burner phone, they just left those flyers up with those disconnected phone numbers on the flyers. Again, to me, what's a dead giveaway, in my personal opinion, is when you have a situation like this and you don't go and do anything about it. When you have a boy that's missing or your loved one that's missing, and all you do is either hang out in a parking lot of where the crime scene took place, or where you're holed up in your home and not talking to the public, not reaching out, not cooperating with police. I mean, this is all dead giveaways. Now, we already know where we're at right now. Obviously, we already know the truth. For the most part, that they're lying, at least. We don't know exactly what they did to Emmanuel and what happened to Emmanuel and where Emmanuel is. We don't know any of those things. But one thing we do know is that these two were lying. And like I said in many other shows before, if they really cared to find this baby boy back then, and they had nothing to do with the demise and the disappearance of their child, they would have been out there 24/7, 7 days a week, nonstop. Doesn't matter, rain, sleet, snow, earthquakes, power outages, hurricanes, tornadoes, it doesn't matter. Acts of God should not stop them from going out there and looking for their kid, period. But that is the sign of someone who is actually truthful and is actually trying to find their kid. The ones that are out there that are just chilling, not bringing any awareness to their missing child, going on vacay, anything like that. All of those things, suspect. Hiding off in their homes, that kind of thing. The way people move is very telling. And what did they do? They did exactly that. They holed up in their house. I wouldn't have been surprised if police did not catch them and charge them with some sort of charge with this. I feel like they would have already picked up their stuff and gone somewhere else. And that would have been a huge red flag, in my personal opinion, as well. But I'm glad police were able to get on top of them and get them when they did. But we'll see what happens here. This is, like I said, this is some wild stuff. The arraignment is tomorrow. We're going to be watching that for sure. We'll be keeping an eye on this. That's why I'm bringing this video up, just so you guys know that we are watching, without a shadow of a doubt, that arraignment tomorrow. And we're going to see what they say. You never know. Rebecca might change her mind. She might say, hey, he did it. I know exactly where baby boy is. I'm pleading guilty. You never know. You never know. He might do it too. You never know. Like I said, I'm still banking on Rebecca. I'm waiting for her Orange is the New Black moment, okay? And she got the face tattoo. She's getting that loving, okay? in that prison, in that Orange is the New Black. They're calling her Thunderclap. And she's like, oh, I don't need you. I am finally relinquished from the clutches of Jake Haro. I don't need you. I don't need a man anymore. I got my man, and she is behind bars with me. That is why I am named Thunderclap. You never know. All I'm saying is, wait for it. There might be some bombshells tomorrow. And if it does happen, we'll be right there watching it all. But anyway, guys, comment down below. Let me know what your thoughts are. Hit that like button down below. Crush that subscribe button. We'll be talking here soon. We need justice for this baby boy. And hopefully we get that justice as soon as possible. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. This is The Pascal Show. Bye.
Pascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild.